Hello guys, this is Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com, and we're here today with episode number 4 in our incredible new tutorial series where you're learning how to think like an engineer using the Arduino Uno R4 Wi-Fi. What I will need you to do is pour yourself a nice tall glass of ice cold coffee. That would be straight up black coffee poured over ice. No sugar, no sweeteners, none needed. And as you're pouring your coffee, as always, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Sunfounder. Sunfounder is actually sponsoring this most excellent series of video tutorials. And in this class, we will be using the Sunfounder Elite Explorer Kit. Now, most of you guys probably already have your gear, but if you don't, look at down in the description. There is a link over to Amazon, and you can hop over there and pick your kit up. And believe me, your life and my life are going to be a whole lot easier if we are working on identical hardware. But enough of this shameless self-promotion. Let's jump in and talk about what I am going to teach you today. And what I'm going to teach you is some good engineering concepts and some good engineering principles that will allow you to build neater, cleaner circuits on your breadboard. And believe me, neater, cleaner circuits are more likely to work, and they're going to be easier to troubleshoot if you have problems. So this is a very important skill that most times you're not really taught, but I hope that you'll pay attention, and I hope you'll enjoy this lesson. Now, I'm going to do this in the context of showing you my solution to the homework assignment that I gave you in lesson number 4. Now, what was that homework assignment? That homework assignment was to take the circuit that we developed in lesson number 3, where we have an LED controlled by the Arduino, but instead of controlling one LED, you were supposed to control 4 LED. But before going on, I must ask the question, how many of you guys were successful in doing the homework? If you were successful, leave a comment down below. I am legend, double chest bump. And if you were not successful, leave a comment down below. I folded up like a cheap Walmart lawn chair. Well, if you fold it up, that's okay, because I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do it. First of all, I'm gonna start by doing it the way most people build circuits, and then I'll come back a second way where I'll show you a better way to do it and things you need to be thinking about when you are laying out a project like this. Sound good? I hope it does. So let's just jump in here and let's see if we can get started on this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, we want to get 4 LEDs working. So what's the first thing that we want to do? We want to plug the 4 LEDs in. Now, I am going to show you one kind of good design or good layout principle. I am going to put them in all the same way. So I'm always going to put the long leg, I'm going to put the long leg always pointing back towards the Arduino board. And that way I know which direction they're in. So long leg back towards the Arduino board. I'll put the second LED in. Long leg back to the Arduino board. And then third LED, long leg back towards the Arduino board. Long leg back towards the Arduino board. Okay. Now, if I have 4 resistors, if I have 4 LED, I'm going to need what? 4 current limiting resistors. So that's going to go to the short leg and to some other empty column. And then this is going to go to the short leg of the next one, back to some convenient column. And then this is going to go for the third one, short leg back to some nearby column, like that, and then short leg back to some nearby column. Okay. Now, what do I need to do? Now I need to connect the long legs of the LED up to the Arduino. So let's take the fourth one here, the fourth one over, and let's put it on pin 3. Let me look and make sure that's pin 3. Yep, that looks like pin 3. And now let me take the third one. Let me take the third one and let me put it on pin 8. Okay. Now let me take the second one, long leg of the second LED, and let me put it on pin, that looks like that was pin 5, and then let me take the first one and let me put it on pin 7. Let me put it on pin 10. Okay, yeah, that's pin 10. All right. Now I have to go in, and the other legs of the resistors, they need to go where? They need to go to ground. Now on the homework, this might have been the first place you had a problem, because if we look at the Arduino board, I have 3 ground pins. How many ground pins do I need? I need 4. So again, one good thing I showed you, I've done a lot of bad things here, but one good thing I showed you, all the LED are in the same direction with the long leg pointing back towards the Arduino. Now this is the new thing I'm going to show you. That is, you don't need to come over and find ground pin, ground pin, ground pin over here. What you do is you connect to one ground pin. You connect to one ground pin. You see that ground pin? And you come over and connect to the bottom row. Now, what have I done there? By connecting to that bottom row, I have made this bottom row a ground rail. All of these holes now are grounds because I connected that entire, and make sure you see that that is the bottom row. That entire row now is ground, so I don't have to keep running back over to the Arduino. If I want this one grounded, I can just come down to the bottom row. Now if I want this one grounded, the second resistor grounded, I just come down to the bottom row. And now the third one looks like it's up here. Okay, and then I come down to the bottom row. And then this fourth one over here, like that, I come down to the bottom row. Now this is, again, remember, this is a bad example that I'm showing you here. All right, but let's just see if the bad example works. So we're going to come over. We are going to come over to our Arduino IDE. We are going to open up. We're going to open up bare minimum. Remember, File, Examples, Basic, and then bare minimum. I've already done that, so mine is already up. So let's think what we need to do here. I'm using how many Arduino pins? 4. I need how many pin modes? 4. So let's do those. I'm going to say pin mode, and then which pin did I go to? Looks like I went to pin 10. Okay, and that needs to be a what? That needs to be an output, like that, semicolon. And now I'm gonna copy that 4 times now, or I'm gonna copy it, and now I'm gonna paste it 3 more times. So that's second, third, fourth. Now what pins did I use? It looks like I used pin 10. It looks like I used pin 8. It looks like I used pin 5. And it looks like I used pin 3. Okay. Now, what do I want to do? I want to come down to the void loop, and inside that void loop clause, what do I want to do? I want to do a digital write. And what do I want to digital write? Pin 10. I want to go high with it. Okay. And then I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it 3 more times. Control V, enter, Control V, enter, Control V, enter. And indentation does not matter in Arduino like it does in Python, but I like to keep my indentation neat where things are lined up. Okay, so I did my pin modes, I set those things high, and now let's see if this circuit is going to work. We are going to hit the right button there, and looks like it is compiling. No device found on COM4. What did we forget to do? Hook this thing up. So I need to come over, and I look, and what you can see is it's COM5 that the Arduino is set up on. So I need to do that. What else do I always need to do for good measure? Make sure under Tools and Board, And then the Arduino R4 boards, make sure that you're on your right board. For me, the Arduino Uno R4 Wi-Fi. Okay, now let's go like this and let's see what happens. What is this? Only one came on. Somebody tell me why only one came on. Why didn't the other ones come on? We copied and pasted, but we didn't what? We didn't make these the other pins. So I need to go 10, 8, and then what? 5, and then what? 3. Let's try again. Right mouse or click the right arrow. And boom. Okay, all 4 came on. So, did we do the homework? Yes. Did we do the homework well? No. So if I was grading this, I would give this probably a B- or a C. Okay. Now tell me some of the things either in the chat or in the comments. Tell me some of the things that you don't like about this project. Well, the first one is I just kind of went in and I used random pins like 10, 8, 5, 3. There's no order to that. There's no structure, no organization. And I didn't keep track of, I don't know, is this LED, if I wanted to work with this LED, was that 8 or 5? Well, I would have to try to trace through all these wires. So that's the first thing that I don't like, okay? Kind of using random pins and no structure or order to it. Second thing I don't like is, look at this. I just kind of put those LEDs all over the board. And I put the resistors all over the board, some going down diagonally, some going up, some going back, just sort of going all over. And then also, if you look at it, it's just kind of a rat's nest of wires. And so it would be very easy for something to kind of come loose because this is kind of a rat's nest, something comes loose. I look down, the circuit looks right, but it's not working. Why? One of the resistors kind of got loose, and it's very hard to see through this rat's nest. So let's see if we can do this again, and let's see if we can be a lot better about how we're going to do it, okay? Now, the first thing that I am going to do is I'm going to put some logical order in the pins that I use. So as I go from the left to the right here, as I go left to right, I want to use in order pins that are physically in that same order. So what I'm going to do is the left one, I'm going to use pin 13, and then I'm going to use pin 12, and then I'm going to use pin 11, and then I'm going to use pin 10. Okay, and so you see how they're in numerical order, and they're going physically as these pins are going 13 to 10 across here. The LEDs are going 13 through 10 across there. Now I'm just going to take all this out because it's such a bad mess. And then we're going to do it a second time where we do it neater and more carefully. Okay, and so take all this out. And this time, what you like to do is you like to pack your circuit sort of compactly and close and neat on the board. So what am I going to do? I'm still going to be putting the LEDs to the left, but I'm going to pack them in here like that. That's the first one. Now, just to give myself a little more room, I do like to kind of skip. So I wouldn't want to start in the next column. I'm going to skip a column from that leg, and then I'm going to skip one column just to give myself a little more working room. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to skip a column, and then I'm going to go like that. I'm also kind of skipping a column between the two legs of the LED. Some people will pack things in a little closer, but I just find that if I skip a column, that will give me a little bit more room to work with. Okay. And now let's see here. And that first one I didn't get, so let's try that again. I'm having trouble seeing from, my face is a little bit far from the circuit board. Okay, and so now I'm going to come in like that. Okay. Now, do you see how much neater that is? Do you see how much neater that is? Okay. Now let's come in and put our resistors in. Now what I'm going to do is also, so let's look. Do you see how I always left one column between adjacent pins to give myself a little working room? Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come and I'm going to come straight down and put the resistors in. Okay. So I'm going to go from the short leg, and then I'm going to come straight down. And then I'm going to go from the short leg, and I'm going to come straight down like that. And then I'm going to go from the short leg up there, and then come straight down. And then last one, I'm going to come from the short leg, and I'm going to come straight down. Okay, do you see how much more organized this is? Now I can go ahead and I can hook up my ground. So I'm going to go from that bottom leg to the ground rail. I'm going to go from the bottom leg to the ground rail. Bottom leg to the ground rail. And then bottom leg to the ground rail. Now do you see how these wires are not crossing over and messing up my components? Do you see how much neater that is? Now what do I want to not forget? I want to not forget to make this my ground rail by coming in there and then coming over to the GND like that. Okay, now what do? I start at pin 13. I start over here at pin 13, and then I come to the long leg of the first LED. Okay, now what do? I go to the pin 12, right? And what am I looking at? 13, 12, 11, 10. So I've got 13, now I've got 12. Okay. And now we're going to go 11. And now we're going to go 10. Now, why did 10 come on? Because of that last program, 10 was one of the ones I've used. And so that pin is still on from our earlier program. Okay, so we're like that. And now you can see we're gonna come back over here to the code view now, and let's see if we can actually make all those come up. So what pins did I use? I used pin 13, 12, 11, and 10 like that. And then down here, 13, 12, 11, and 10. Okay, now let's see if we can run this thing, and let's see. But do you see how much neater this circuit is already? Pin mode, what is that? 13, oh, right up here. Let's try that again. Okay, you see how much neater that is? And you can also see that we could get a much more, there, boom, okay, it's working. Okay, you see, now if we had a problem, this would be much easier to debug. It's much more organized, and it's much easier to keep track of what pin is doing what, okay, because we kept careful notes. Okay, now can we even do better than this? Yes, we can do better than this. And this is something I'm going to suggest to you guys. If you can do this, it's great. If you can't, I understand. You'll be able to make it through the class if you don't do this. But there are some wires called bojack wires, and these bojack wires are a lot neater and allow you to do cleaner builds on your circuit board. And so let me come in and show you these things, that they're just nice, conveniently sized wires that you can do to make these connections. You see there's sort of pre-built wires like this, and it allows you to make much cleaner builds. And so let's see if we can kind of clean this thing up doing that. So I'm going to take off these loopy wires, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to get 4 of these little wires, and you see they come in all these different sizes. And what I'll do is I'll leave a link down below where you can pick up these wires. But just believe me, as we start doing more and more complicated circuit builds, you're gonna be happy to be able to run these short jumper wires instead of those big loopy wires, okay? And if you guys have taken my classes before, a lot of you guys probably already have these wires. But let me come in now, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go from there to the ground, okay, and look at that. You see how neat that is? Let me come over to this view, okay. Do you see how much neater that is? And now we're going to come to the next one, and then put that in. Guys, the trouble I'm having is my head is very far from my circuit, so I don't see where I am perfectly. Okay, there, that's neat. Come into this one, and then we're going to come into this one. Okay, wow. Do you see the difference between this? Do you see the difference between this and the first circuit that we built? Okay, much, much, much neater. Now there's one other little thing that I will show you as to how we could do this neater. And what I have is I have this plier kit, and this plier kit has a variety of pliers that are used to a variety of pliers. Maybe I can hold it up this way. A variety of pliers that are helpful for building circuits. But the problem is this kit is about $40, and I don't think it's worth it, because what you really need is you just need this one set of diagonal cutters. You see it's a little thing for snipping wires very neatly. And I'll leave a link down below, not to the kit, but just one simple pair of pliers, and that would probably be about $5. Okay. But what I like to do is I don't like these long legs. I don't like these long legs on the resistors, because it's very easy for those long legs to hit some other long leg and then to become shorted out. So what I like to do is I like to come out, I like to get these resistors, and I like to leave about a 1/4 inch. Can you see that? Yeah. I like to cut to where I'm leaving just about a 1/4 inch, like that. Okay. And now I like to come in and I like to plug those in. Okay. And boom, you see how that's now flush down there with the circuit. So let's do that. Okay, cut about a 1/4 inch. And don't worry, because you can still use these on the next project. Just anytime you're going to want a resistor, you're going to benefit if the resistor plugs flush into the circuit board. So this one I'm going to straighten up a little bit more. After you use these a few times, your legs get a little bit crooked. Okay, so we're going to bring that one in there, and there, get it plugged all the way in, and you see this long business there. We're going to get that one. Kind of straighten these up, and then we're going to cut that like that, and like that. Okay. And we're going to come in there and there. Okay. Guys, do you see how much cleaner and how much more organized this circuit is compared to where we started? we've really made a lot of progress. Now, if I was really doing this more carefully, one thing I don't like is I don't like how this one didn't have a hole here, so I went kind of across. I would have moved everything over by one and then come straight down to make it just a little bit neater. But I hope you've learned some stuff here. I hope you've learned that when you're going to do a circuit build, you want to kind of organize things, and you want to make things compact. You want to make them neat, and you want to use as few of these long wires as possible and as many of these little short wires as you can. And like I say, these jumper wires, you can see that there's all different lengths that allow you to build your circuits very carefully, very compactly, and very neatly here. Okay, guys, hopefully that has given you some good ideas about trying to be neater and more organized as you do your work on your breadboard. Now, what your homework is for next week is to come back over here to the code and now put some interesting patterns on the on your LED. Like you could blink all four, or you could blink one, blink the next one, blink the next one, blink the next one, or you could turn one on and have the one that's on run back and forth, or you could have them all on and you could have one off and you could have the off one running back and forth. But I want you to just get comfortable using these pin modes, digital writes, and delays. And then once you do your circuit, you need to make a small video where you show me your code, and then you show me a video of your circuit build. So I want to see your code. I want to see how neat your build is, and then I want to see how creative your pattern of lights are. Then post that to YouTube. Then in your YouTube video, link back to this video so people will know what you're talking about. And then in the comments down below, leave a link over to your video so I can see the comment pop up, and I'll run over and I'll look at your video. Guys, I look at every single homework assignment that's posted. So post your homework assignment, link back to me in the comments, link back to your video, and I will go in and I will look at every single video. And so post your solutions, and then next week we're going to do some cool new stuff. We're going to start learning how computers operate by understanding that computers are nothing but on-off switches. We can think of on-off switches as being an off for one that is, we can think of an off switch as being a 0, an on switch as being a 1. And then if we understand binary numbers, we can do anything with nothing but a whole bunch of on-off switches. So that's what we're going to do next week. Guys, I hope you're having as much fun taking these lessons as I am making them. As always, I want to give a shout out to you guys who are standing with me on Patreon. You're the ones that keep me in the game, and I really appreciate that support and encouragement. You can also help me by giving me a thumbs up on the video. If you leave a comment down below, that will help me with the old YouTube juice, and this video will be shown to more people. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. When you subscribe, make sure that you ring that bell so you get notified when future lessons drop. And most importantly, share this video with other people, because more people need to be doing engineering and fewer people sitting around watching silly cat videos. Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com. I will talk to you guys later.